This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Welcome to the CPA meeting, July 17th, first in the new year. Start with the roll call introduction. I'm Dan Rist. I'm City Council appointment.
I'm Peak. I'm the City Council representative.
Kira Henninger. I'm the Parks and Rec representative.
Ken Ivecchia, Planning Board Rep.
Mary Church, Chairperson, the Housing Association.
Jay Ryan, Conservation Commission.
I'm Ava Gerstel. I'm the CPA coordinator.
Rich Rollins, City Council appointee.
If you're here to speak on an agenda item, you don't have to speak. John, are you here?
I'm John Bruner. I'm a member of the Historic Commission.
My apologies.
We forgot you already.
Anyway, public speak, if you're here to speak to anything other than what's on the agenda, you may do so now, but if you're here to talk about the pond or the clock.
Turning up the volume.
All right, so no public speak. City officials, do you have anything even?
Nope.
Okay, then let's talk about account balances. You can go to that screen.
What is the next first? It's not on here. Sorry.
You didn't get the
I
minutes?
didn't put them on.
Yes.
Could we do them? Do you want to wait for them until next meeting?
We have to, it's not on the agenda.
Great.
So next meeting, we have to remember to do that.
Excellent. Okay, this is our open project balances sheet. I'll make it bigger. Not much has changed. I put our three fiscal 25 fourth quarter projects on the sheet, though they have not yet made it through City Council and Finance Committee. So those are still tentative numbers. We're waiting on a lot of reconciled finances from the city auditor. It's the end of the fiscal year, still a lot of processing. So we'll have reconciled numbers hopefully by August, if not by then September. So not so much to see here. Certainly the more exciting sheet is our available balance sheet, which has flipped over. Greg, you may notice we changed it per Dan's. We're now in blue.
Wow.
I didn't like red.
No one likes to be in the red, Dan.
Oh, that's the end, and here we are. Okay. So this is our starting balances for fiscal 26. The top line 4 under the header, you see our carryover balances. That was after the funding of the fourth quarter FY25 projects. We started with $1, actually some cents, in the open space account, 95,501 in historic preservation, some cents in affordable housing, and 96,719 in the undesignated fund, and nothing left in the reserve fund. And then line 5 shows the funds that we closed out in the last fiscal year, which will become available for appropriation in this fiscal year, totaling 108,187. And then line 6 shows the approved FY26 budget amounts. This committee approved those in the February CPA meeting, and then the City Council approved it when they approved the entire budget in June. And those were the budgeted amounts. Now, the notable numbers you're missing here are basically the funds that came in fiscal 25, but were not budgeted in the fiscal 25 budget. And those funds will come into this spreadsheet once all of the fiscal 25 numbers have been reconciled in the auditor. So this is currently, we're starting with a conservative estimate of our beginning account balances at the start of the year. That total number of 1.092 million will likely be slightly more than that once we have those final fiscal 25 appropriate extra funds that come in, non-budgeted funds that come in. And then under current FY appropriations 26, FY 26, this is our final year of 11 Ferry Street pre-designated appropriations. So $200,000. We put $200,000 from the affordable housing into the affordable housing set aside specifically so that it would come out of this account with the first quarter FY 26 appropriations.
I have a question. Where is 11 Ferry Street? I mean, I know where Ferry Street is, but what is number 11?
So number 11 isn't built yet, but it'll be next to, which are we up to, is 7 built at this time?
Well, you know, the whole,
Yeah, the ones that are built, I know already.
is that parcel?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's one of the buildings that has not been built
Yes,
yet?
it's an additional building that'll be built on that parcel.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And it's,
I was never quite sure.
how many, do you remember, does any of the committee members remember how many units of housing this committee helped support? It was an entirely affordable building.
Yeah, and it was like a
Oh,
lot, but
goodness.
I'm blanking on the number. I don't want to overstate it.
Yeah.
That's all right. You know, I read about, I just wasn't sure what this was.
Right.
What number? Okay, thank you.
It's kind of cool because it's going to be like a prefabricated, they're just going to bring the building in parts and like assemble it, kind of.
Oh,
So
they're not going to use any of the structures that are still there?
They're using those structures for other things, but this is like a brand new building. It's going to come in.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, oh, wow. Okay.
And then,
Can you remind us, can I ask a question?
please,
If you scroll back up, the budgeted amounts, why affordable housing has 200,000 versus the other 110?
yeah, I think we did that so that we could move the 200,000 immediately
In
into 11
preparation
Ferry.
for the.
Yeah,
home
exactly.
city? Okay, yeah.
Because last fiscal year, we spent those funds out of undesignated, whereas the committee intended those to be spent out of affordable housing.
It's 96 units. I just
Anything
looked
else,
up in the
Eva?
notes.
Any other questions from anybody?
So yeah, the relevant numbers here is the orange line, which are our available balances before our pending FY26 appropriations, and then lines 19 and 20 are the 2 appropriations that are up for discussion tonight and for this quarter. Nashawanic Pond retaining wall and public access at 78,020, and the town clock design at 75,000. And yeah, I don't have any other preliminary projects that have submitted letters, but I'll just put that call out to the public that if you know you're likely to be applying for CPA funds this fiscal year, if you want to get me a pre-application letter, even if you're coming in a far future quarter, as soon as possible, for this committee's planning purposes.
Nice to know.
Thank you. If there's no other questions, we'll move on to the National Pond retaining wall presentation.
Great. All right.
I don't know.
I am doing it.
State your name and everything for the record.
I'm Beth Tiffany, over the National Pond.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get in there. I'm representing the National Pond Steering Committee for this request of funding. Paul Novak, our chairman, is out of town. So. Joining me is Paul Davis, member of our National Pond Steering Committee. I'm going to briefly describe him as our technical lead. So this goes on, but I'm shortening it up. Amy Marsters is on our committee as well. I'd like to thank Ava first for extensive patience and guidance through the CONCOM process, and this as well. Incredibly helpful. I'm going to start by reading Paul Novak's letter of support. Dear CPA members, please accept this letter of support from the Easthampton Nashawanic Pond Steering Committee with respects to the Area 3 retaining wall restoration. Our committee formed back in 1987, was charged with advising our city government with methods of saving and protecting the pond from its impending cultural eutrophication. It was simply dying. Our history of successful efforts were positively impacted by CPA financial contributions. The dredging project in 2009, Broadbrook Siltation Basin work, never have happened in absence of your funding participation. As we continue to move forward with further restorative measures, we feel that shoreline access for the public to safely enjoy, coupled with protecting the pond from erosive runoff, is needed. Area 3 across from the boat launch is a prime example of this need. The present retaining wall is fractured and failing. Once again, we are reaching out to your committee for possible assistance. City of Eastham owes a debt of gratitude to the CPA committee for all its past contributory enthusiasm toward the use and beauty of Nashwauk ponds. All know that. Now, we have the slideshow. We are city-appointed volunteers. Paul Novak, myself, Amy Marsters, Paul Davis, and Elaine Wood, charged with pond stewardship to identify, help implement needed projects to maintain the health of the pond for the benefit of Easthampton residents and guests. This is the stabilization wall across from the boat launch on Water Lane. Everybody's familiar with that. It's failing. As you can see, it's pushing out along here in the top. The next slide, I think, has even closer pictures of the problem. Little history, it's a favorite fishing and picnic vista access. Eroding banks. Bay State Environmental, which is now GZA, designed and permitted this stabilization wall. Well, all of them, but this one. Original wall approved for construction was 1999. This pressure treated wood structure. 25 years later, the wall is failing. Water level a little higher due to dam operation, slow undermining of the boards separating and tipping out toward the pond. GZA developed a new plan with stone and steps. Concom granted a permit in June of 2025. So this is one plan. This will replace the current wooden structure, stone steps. Better access, safety to last longer. Go ahead. The next one is a little side one that's been eroding that fishermen people use, and it's just washing down. So we have a plan to put stone steps in there as well. This is the access road. These stones are up by the park road, access road, and this is the staging area. The wall is down below that side. This is GZA's provided construction cost estimate. All the details are there. Want to just mention one thing here. This final design construction phase service, $7,540. Keep your eye on that for a minute. Talk about that a little bit more. I'm good with that. If
I can pull it up again also later, so we can look at it closer.
Nashwauk Pond Steering Committee has raised and expended funds in support of this project. We've already paid GZA $9,700 for the planning study, preliminary design, and cost estimate. We have committed $20,000 for this construction, including currently engaging GZA for final design construction phase service, $7,540. Well, Paul and I went and talked to Michael Owen, procurement. We wanted to understand the bidding process and timelines and so forth. And he told us the sooner we could get the construction drawings, final design, the better. So we did, and just yesterday or the day before, we got that contract, and it's actually $9,700 again. We haven't reviewed it, we haven't looked at it, but that, even though that's in their estimate, its actual cost is $9,700, which isn't going to change what we're going to contribute. We're contributing $20,000. Nashawanak Steering Committee is financially supported by Friends of Nashawanak, the 501c3. We've already paid $370 for the NOI printing, legal ad in the Gazette, and we are looking for other grants to help offset this as well. So myself, Paul, Amy, Elaine are on the Friends of Nashawanak Committee as well. One other member, Brianna, she's our secretary. Amy's the president, I'm the treasurer. So we're asking for $78,020. Questions?
I'm curious, where you're looking for the grants?
Well,
Have you applied, where have you applied for the grants?
I've done one to Constellation,
Constellation,
which is a electric supplier.
okay.
That's one. I'm not sure where Amy.
We haven't actually applied yet,
Okay.
but we're looking at a couple different. There's the Beverage Foundation
Foundation, okay.
is a possibility, and then there's some other, I don't have the names.
Okay, thank you.
Open to suggestions. Happen.
Trying to get ideas, yeah.
No.
So the additional $2,000 and change, the difference between the 7,540 and then 9,700. Where is that coming from? Is that,
It's
are you gonna fill in that gap, or is that?
when we're gonna be able to contribute $20,000. It's just that instead of 7,540 being for the plans, it's actually 9,700. So
Does that change the overall cost?
it
Have
does
go up like
not.
that?
And now, not till we go out for quote and get bids, then we'll know what it's really gonna cost. There may be some cost saving measures that we're hoping for. If you,
If I can offer.
Please.
Paul Davis, from the committee also. We have asked GZA, you maybe could call, if you can go to the plan name. So this is the primary wall that's failing, and then this other area needed stabilization. We asked GZA to consider a lower impact approach, if you will, to stabilizing this area, which is going to be much more in the idea of just putting leftover curbstone from the Union Street project and embedding that into the slope coming down. So that wouldn't be nearly as heroic as what they have designed, which is much more, full face reconstruction sort of thing. So we're hoping that that will allow the bid estimates, or rather the actual final bids, to come in a little bit lower. So that's our goal. We don't have those final plans yet, or any updated cost estimate. I'm not sure if that's part of the contract, but anyways, we are hoping that that initial contract estimate, the bids will come in a little bit lower.
That access point, just for the committee's reference, is over here from the water. It's this piece that's degrading.
Was actually work done here as part of the original plan for the wall, but it's basically there's a stone that's just below water level here, and that was for a fisherman to stand on as they fish, and I think some still do, but they get their feet wet a little bit. But the water at that time when those plans were developed was actually 2 feet lower, and then with the operation of the dam and the bascule gate that's at the dam, with that being in the up position all the time now, the water level's always up here.
And what's the timeline for for soliciting and receiving bids?
well, technically, from what we were trying to figure out, we shouldn't be looking for bid till we know we have the funding. Which is September 15th, but then it's got to go through city council, finance, city council. So it could be
November.
November.
I think that is state law. You can't go up to it.
Oh, really? Okay,
Sure.
I don't know. Michael seemed to think that, felt confident that maybe he could start, but
I thought his words were a should as opposed to a must. But
yeah.
whatever. We'll do what we have to do.
Yeah, It's so just that, it has to be done in no ice conditions.
Right.
So it's
So we're-
either, depending on the weather,
We don't think we're gonna get it done this fall,
Yeah.
basically.
it's probably too much of a crunch for that.
Originally optimistic, but oh well.
Yeah.
26 is okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Sure.
Questions from the members?
Can you tell me where this is in relation to,
Right there.
Holyoke Street?
Yes, do you know the Water Lane is off of Holyoke?
I don't know which one is Water Lane.
The map is up there.
Okay. Let's see.
Here we are.
Do you know where the boat ramp is?
Is it the one that everybody just
This
goes
is
down,
Holyoke.
there's parking
That's
lot?
Holyoke.
It's a paved boat ramp.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yes, it's relatively new.
right.
So it's kind of across from that.
Oh, okay,
On the other
okay.
side of the pond.
On the other
On the
side,
other side, yes.
okay.
You access it from non-restricted
Yeah,
water.
'cause I take my dog down there.
There you go.
Okay, and it's across the
boat
way.
launch is like right here,
Mhm.
and you look across and you see that.
Okay,
Again, I don't have any statistics to prove it, but my suspicion is that's the most heavily used waterfront on the park, except with,
On the park
right by
side.
the cemetery out front.
Yeah.
But other than that, once you're in Nonotuck Park itself, this is the place everybody goes to.
For fishing.
for fishing, I know
Is it
fishermen
safe?
go there.
I mean, it's in pretty bad condition. How safe is it now?
It doesn't feel unsafe walking around it, but I mean, you can see,
Yeah, that's
it
why.
doesn't look real good.
We started, with GZA on this, March of 23.
Mhm.
Because at that time, it was just a little bit open. This actually started from a complaint from a resident that there were nails there and she was concerned about her dog getting caught on the nails. She let us take a closer look at it and it's, in 2 or 3 years, it keeps moving.
One thing I'll just note for the committee from my role as the conservation agent, is that one thing that wasn't on their presentation of their budget, is that Paul Davis contributed a significant in-kind donation for some really phenomenal wetlands permitting work.
That's correct.
Really
Yeah.
pretty, one of the more thorough applications the
Yeah,
commission,
you don't have to embarrass me.
one of the more thorough applications the commission has received this season. And
Yes,
That would
he's on our
have, that would
committee.
cost the pond committee money to do that if
Oh.
he did not do that.
It
So
probably would have been, if GZA had been hired, who in full disclosure, I worked for them before I retired.
mhm.
Probably would have been a cost of about 5,000 or 6,000.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm so happy I coerced him into.
You got the right member on board.
Indeed.
Know that.
Anything else, members?
I'm good.
So Eva, we don't discuss this again in August, but it just comes for a vote in September 15th.
Yep, unless the committee members have additional questions.
Questions at this point?
All right. Thank you.
So I was wondering, if the questions do come up, does someone have to come back in August to?
If any committee members have questions and they send them to me, I'll send them to you and you can totally provide written responses. Will certainly be satisfactory.
Summer's tough, a lot of
Ask
vacation.
one more question just while we're here.
Okay.
So looking at the map of this promontory, in between the
That map or the design.
design map, actually, I see like sort of a dark solid line in between the two-step areas and sort of up on the upper left, like,
This?
is that just, is there any construction there? What do I make of that dark black line with the triangle
walls. So you'd like me to explain the construction procedures or just a very overview?
Yeah, no, I mean, sort of understand the steps area. I'm just in between, like what's going on the left.
On this thing here?
No, actually in between, I'll just come up.
Yeah, that'd be easier.
No, over here.
I'm looking at this with the triangles here. I'm looking at this in between the two areas. Is this actually construction? What is happening in those?
Nothing is happening there except for erosion control at the edges, but, what that dark line with the triangles, that's your typical wetland delineation line that is on, these were the wetland permitting plans that we brought to the commission. So that's actually the resource area of the edge of the bank on National Park. So
So
that's
nothing will be done except in those two spots that we were talking about.
exactly. These are the areas where the work is going to be done. This outer layer here is actually erosion control measure. That's just temporary, just so that you can work in a semi-dry area where you don't have waves crashing in and bringing dirt back out to the pond.
Thank you.
Anything else? Again, anybody else? Okay, email questions. Eva, she'll get them answered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Very good
Oh, wait.
presentation.
Yeah, actually, really quick, we have some letters of support that the committee should see. They were in your file, but I can go.
Well, we
ahead and
can read on those.
Okay, all right, great. There's a letter of support from John Mason, Parks Director, who's this property is within his jurisdiction.
Sure. Okay.
It's within the park. And then this is a letter of support from the now former mayor.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming.
Well, that'll be a cut back to follow. I don't have a PowerPoint.
You need a person, you see.
Well, I should have brought up all those beautiful pictures we have from way back. But- So the clock is me and, Allison Manuel, is that how you pronounce it? Manuela, from planning. If we do anything on the clock, it has to be presented by a department, in this case, planning department. Just give you a little history. 2023-22, a study, repairs were needed. Pictures were brought in. You could see falling debris. You could see a lot of problems with the exterior of the clock. I was very interested in that, and I approached Greg Rowland about trying to do something about it. We established ownership, which did a little bit of, which the mayor provided funding for, to have the city attorney go through and make sure that the city actually owned the clock. And there's an agreement, which is part of the presentation today. I don't want to go into it, but that was signed by the church that the city owns the clock. In order to use funding that is taxpayer dollars, we can't just hire a company to replace the clock or do any work. We have to have an architectural design study. And that's what this appropriation is about. Back then, my Goins thought 30,000 should be enough to do this study. An RFP was issued and he didn't get any responses except one architect told him, you need $50,000 or $60,000 for this. So that killed it. The $30,000 was encumbered still for the clock, and fast forward to the fact that Greg presented a big piece of the clock had fallen on the ground. Thank God it didn't hit anybody, and we had to do something about it. So the city, through DPW, hired a steeple guy, something like that, to or some 9,500, I think, of the 30,000 was used to do that. So today, I am reviving the clock in an effort because I believe the CPA should pay for this. It is a city-owned clock, but it's a historic clock. We have in the document, you can see that we have 75,000 is being asked for from the CPA, plus there is 20,500 left. So for a grand total of 95,500. Allison, believes it would be appropriate to make sure the money's in place before we go out to an RFP this time. We feel there's plenty of funds available. We should, if 50 or 60 did it, and that was only a couple of years ago. If there's any extra money, of course, it'll just be returned to the CPA. Something else had happened that once that steeple was studied by the person who did the work, said the steeple might need a lot of work, the steeple itself, not the clock. My concern is, well, what if it leaks right onto our new clock, et cetera, et cetera. I always thought incorrectly that the anti-aid amendment prevented the CPA from funding steeple repair. I was totally wrong. As long as it has been designated by the local historic commission as a historic landmark, which it has been, and we got a letter, thank you, John, for that. It's in here, establishing it as historical. CPA can fund even repairs to the steeple. Just like we would fund repairs to the library. We don't own the library, but it's historic. And I like to interject too that when I was at City Space, it was commented that that whole corridor is now considered historic for Easthampton. So the Congregational Church with the clock is a historic element of that.
Main Street Historic District.
Is that what they're calling it? Okay. Now, when I first thought of that, Greg and the church properly said, we don't want to create controversy with the anti-aid amendment. And, we don't want funds that we're not, et cetera. That's no longer a problem. Allison actually brought up that West Springfield recently fixed their town and church, and Hadley just spent $350,000 to do the same thing out of CPA funds. So there's a lot of examples in the state about repairing these historic. What else? What I'd like to add to the RFP after this is the architect to study the steeple. There's any damage to the steeple that's not currently in the documentation, because this documentation was based on the original RFP way back in 23. So I'd like to make sure that we look at the steeple and any other elements that might damage the clock. If we're going to do this, let's do it right. Do it the first time. This guy said that needs work. I don't know if he meant that the roofing had to be done. I don't know how much work is done. Greg, were you familiar with what he said had to be done to the steeple?
I'm unaware that there needs to be work done on the steeple, but I'm not an architect or an engineer.
Well, he said there was, so we want to make sure of that there's nothing. I see a piece of molding is missing.
It is very old steeple. I will say that.
Well, the whole clock. So we don't know how much besides the clock. The original intent was to replace the clock with architecturally, how shall I say this? Correct materials, but materials that are synthetic that can last for years, not the original wood or anything like that. And electronic device that'll operate the clock forever. A bell ringer so the bell doesn't wing. All of that originally, moving way ahead whenever we decide to do this, was predicted around $120,000, maybe $130,000, something like that for the two, the clock and the bell ringer. So I don't know where this will go beyond this Arctic study, but we have to do the study before we know anything. So that's basically it. I just want to thank Allison for coming forward with this, and Mike Owens. We may be able to do the RFP before the money's in, but Mike Owens has been busy, given that we have no treasurer, and why don't we just get the money? I mean, I'd love to see this done this year, but if we get the money to do this from the CPA, we can do it, planning department, then we can get at least a study and see how much.
And Allison, the planning director, sends regards. She's at a different city council subcommittee meeting tonight.
How dare they have a meeting on the same night as the year?
Organized, take it up with Connie.
Okay, Greg, you have anything you want to add or?
No, I mean, other than this project has, been a long time coming and the mayor has met on this project multiple times, generally has her support. And the ideal here is to get across the finish line and not have to touch the city clock again for 30 to 50 years. So use the materials that's required. So it's in good shape, it's synthetic, it's not rotting or deteriorating. And we just don't see this as something that will require regular maintenance, but it will look nice. We'll be able to take the netting down. We'll be able to potentially have the historic ring of the bell during the day. So it kind of restores something that's central to the long-term identity of Easthampton.
Stuart at the coalition told me that this kind of project is one that's done so often in the state to repair clocks, vintage New England. It's New England history.
Well, we ought to be able to get a good price if everybody's doing it.
Okay.
Here's hoping.
If they're doing it all over, there must be a couple people.
What do you think, Tom? Do you have any questions? Council point of view?
No, I don't know this time.
Oh, I don't know why I grabbed onto this, but history has always been something for me. City space and the history of Old Town Hall, the library. There was a thought at one point that the library might be torn down, when they were going to move, and I got all upset about that. How about you, John? Do you have anything you want to add? I want to thank the commission because Allison wanted a letter making sure that this was indeed designated as such. So I thank you and the committee for that.
Yeah, I would add that it's fully, the repair is fully supported by the commission. And one of the things that personally I would say to the CPA is that I think time is of the essence, not only for the clock itself, because the more the wood deteriorates, the more is in jeopardy and the more the repair will take in cost, but also because the committee itself can be in flux and ideas and motivations can be in flux. And so I think now would be the best time for us to get this, to get some professionals to give us some advice on what needs to be done.
And the committee didn't have any issue with synthetic materials versus wood or anything like that, or trying to keep the old clock repaired.
I have to be accurate and say we don't have consensus. We do not have a complete consensus. What we have a consensus on is that everyone wants the clock repaired, and that what they said was regarding this matter, that getting the information from the professionals was the thing that would give them the confidence. And so that's why I'm really urging the committee to approve this and get us moving on this so we can take care of it, because that is the overall thing everyone's unanimous about. Is it's our clock. We want it to work. We want the historic, we want it to ring. We want the clock to be accurate. It's a centerpiece of the town. I could go on and on, but I assume everyone understands the Historic Commission, and I personally fully support the repair and the function of the clock and its associated parts.
Yeah, I don't know, Eva, if you have the original. I think the company was called Verdun. I did the study originally. It's amazing how many different faces they showed could be put on the clock, that it would be accurately presented to from the street. You wouldn't know the difference between it and original materials. So that's something if you're on the study there.
And I'll mention it again for me personally, 100% believe that the smart thing to do, it's just like the not having the bell ring. It might seem to someone like, well, why don't we make it do what it originally did? But swinging a 2-ton bell back and forth at the top of a wooden structure is not what we do nowadays. But you can still make it ring with modern changes. And I couldn't be more supportive of it, personally.
Thank you, Eva, for putting up these pictures. You can see the cracks. There's gonna be some structural repair.
And I believe this, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
We've all been up there. I just want to make sure too, everyone knows the commission did go up. A couple of us couldn't, but we've been up there. I've personally seen all of these parts and pieces. We've personally investigated this. There's no question these repairs need to happen. There's no question that we'll all benefit the town. The public will benefit from having this back to the state of function and aesthetic appeal that we're all looking for.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
But just note too that for the committee members who weren't present at the Old Town Hall Phase 2 groundbreaking on Tuesday, that it was quite an exciting event, and there's a lot of energy around the Main Street Historic District right now.
I think the way history is being pummeled recently, nationally, we ought to make sure we preserve our history. Political statement, sorry. Anything else? Okay. Thank you, Eva. The only thing else we have on this is the community preservation plan, administrative fund proposal. Do we still have work to do on that?
Yeah, so we have a draft contract that PVPC drafted up. Does the committee remember what this was all about? Should I refresh us? Okay, great. So this is the draft contract that they proposed. It is here. We'll look at the total and then we can scroll back. So it's for $5,200. Currently in our administrative account, there's $5,400. We were originally going to use the remainder of administrative funds from FY25 and then half of the administrative funds from FY26. But because the work would be completed in FY26, the auditor recommended that we utilize the funds from FY26. I believe, so the admin funds that were not utilized in 2025 went back to the undesignated fund, will be closed back out to the undesignated fund. Not yet currently represented in our numbers, but they will be once everything is reconciled. And so at some point, I'll be coming to you with an appropriation from the undesignated account into the admin account in order for us to be able to pay our Community Preservation Act Coalition.
Does it have to be, refresh my memory, does that have to be appropriation? Can it be an intra-department?
Maybe it's an intra-departmental. I think we argued about this before.
I think,
Well,
I guess it's
it's
up to Hadel. Like, I don't see why that couldn't be an intra-departmental transfer.
So we
but-
make the decision, we don't have to go to the council.
That might be the case. I think it does have to get moved into, because the state tracks what percent of the total revenue of this committee is utilized for admin dollars. But I did do the math. It has to be under 5% of your annual revenue used for your annual admin, which is like 41,000.
So
you guys could use for admin. Currently, you utilize 24,000 in the budget.
For admin? Oh, that's including your salary, part of your salary.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're good there. Yeah.
We've never come anywhere close to the 5% when it comes to administrative operations. Just for
Well, it'd just be a lot easier for you if we didn't have to go. It's just timing. I mean, I don't think the council will have any issues or anything, but it's just timing.
Totally.
You
Right.
can find that out for yourself.
Yeah, I will.
I support that.
I guess it's,
Also. I'll just push it. That's like if we can push through if we can make it simple, let's make it simple.
Yeah. If we need to move it through the council, that would be my job, and I can guarantee you it would happen. But if you want to do it in a month less time and Hadel's cool with it, then
Right. Right.
that's
Okay,
the
so-
thing. Hadel has to be
Hadel
cool
has,
with it.
right, Hadel will,
I'm not gonna mess with it.
right. Okay, so we'll get the vision on how to move more funds eventually into the admin account in order to pay our $2,875 Community Preservation Act Coalition membership fee. Other than that, we don't have any other plans for those admin accounts for this fiscal year other than this $5,200.
We have to pay the coalition fee, or is that already paid?
That's what I just said.
Oh.
So those are additional funds. Those are the additional funds that will have to be moved from undesignated into this account at some point. If the committee decides
Sure.
to stay in the coalition. So
That's happened every year.
so right.
And we should stay in the coalition, just personally.
They're very helpful. That has happened. Well, every year it comes, typically this committee moves funds as part of the budgeting process into the administrative account. And then those funds are paid to the coalition.
We budget for the administrative funds.
Exactly.
That's when they is when we approve the budget.
Yep.
We typically don't touch it again once the funds are in admin.
Right.
And those funds have been paid to the coalition.
You do it. You do the work.
Yeah.
Right.
We send the
We have
purchase
never-
order in, we don't deal with that.
Right. But the reason I'm bringing it up this year is because there will need to be funds, additional funds, because we'll use down the budgeted administrative amount.
Yeah, for this project.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Understood.
Okay. And so included in this scope of services is the background, is the introduction appendices, historic preservation section, and the community housing section, with the understanding that I will write the open space and recreation section of the community preservation plan.
Great.
When does this plan have to be done by? Last year.
Like 10 years ago.
2018. The timeline that PVPC laid out in this agreement is that these funds will have this process finished by the end of February, which lines up nicely with this committee will be moving into the budgeting cycle at that time for FY27.
Well, I recommend you find out from Handle if we can do this, so we can vote on this next meeting. Get this done. Even if we can't, we could vote on it next meeting and send it to city council.
I think you all,
Because this is administrative, it's not a project. I don't think we have to wait to the end of the quarter. That's
No.
what I'm saying.
and so the committee deciding, I'm fairly certain that the committee deciding to use administrative funds for this contract does not need to go to council. That's an internal decision that this committee is making.
But the interdepartment transfer does. It's
Right.
brought to department.
Right.
Or it might not, but Hadel knows.
Right.
And that's what we need to do. This seems like the next step is clear.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then we just vote to transfer the money
Right.
out of undesignated into admin at the next meeting.
Right.
Rather than wait another meeting.
Totally. I think the committee could vote on this agreement, though. We have $54,000, $5,400 in the administrative account currently.
So are you asking for a vote on that tonight?
I think it would make sense to, so that we could, if the committee wants to vote on it, unless the committee has additional questions or wants to think about it further.
Oh, I don't have a problem with that. I thought.
So do you have a motion for that? Do you need a
Can somebody make a
I would
motion?
make a motion to approve the expenditure of the aforementioned funds for the PVPC, Community Preservation Plan.
Administrative fund.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, we have to do a roll call vote. Hey, John, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
You vote yes?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I vote yes.
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 Aye.
Okay, motion is carried.
Okay, excellent. So I'll execute this, this contract and we'll get started. So it's been a long time since the committee has done the preservation plan. It's been since fiscal year 2018.
Why do you look at me when you say?
Or
I was here too. You blame it on Greg.
totally. So I thought it
Buck
made
stops there.
serve the committee just to talk a little bit about process, for how we want to do this. And I did look at how some other communities do it. We'll have one public hearing, towards the end of this process where we present a draft to the community and we offer comment, and we'll open up the window for comment. But typically communities have a full draft at that time and then they present the draft. So prior to the draft, it'll be a collaborative process where we bring in the various community partners who fit into those 4 categories, and have those discussions.
So contract wise, you have the money in place, but you're gonna use some of that money for the coalition, so do you not want to make sure that the money is transferred before you do the contract, or do you not worry about that?
Well, you all just voted on the contract.
I understand that.
So we'll
But
find,
you're doing a contract with, you haven't finalized it yet.
right,
We're giving you permission to do that.
to do that, yes. I can ensure that we will be able to move the $2,675 from the undesignated fund.
I don't see
into
any reason
admin.
why not, yeah. Just the timing of it all.
It's just when.
Right.
Okay.
So in terms of the procedure for the community preservation plan, do different committee members want to be involved in the draft stages? Do the committee members who are part of the relevant, who are representing the relevant commission want to be present at those meetings? Do we want those to be public meetings? Do we want those to be not public meetings? Are we invited those partners?
Probably want to hammer things out without a public meeting to then present, once you have your act together.
Okay.
I would recommend maybe an email out to the people that are involved, asking them if they want to add anything to what you're doing. And then maybe meeting with them if you have to. At a public hearing, I'll have later.
Does this committee want to review drafts of each section prior to the public hearing?
We will see it in advance of the public meeting.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with receiving it, reviewing it before the meeting that we typically have upstairs public hearing to review and kind of go over it. That's sufficient review for me because it's in draft form when we have that meeting. So we as committee members can bring our thoughts and potential changes to the meeting, just like people who might be showing up to add their 2 cents. So that's my personal view.
I think if you have a draft prior to the meeting and you send it out, we should get any real changes that you think we all might want so that you could put in the draft change requested by Greg Rowland, Dan Rist, whatever, if there are prior to that public hearing, just to try and make it easier instead of going so many meetings.
And, having done this a little bit, even though it seems like a long time since we have done it, I guess I've been here long enough to see this process. This is not prescriptive. This is a little bit of a community inventory of things that we're aware of in these different areas, priorities, values, that kind of thing that Easthampton has for open space or for historic preservation, affordable housing, etc. So there's nothing that locks us into any path as a committee with this. This is a public document that kind of shares citywide kind of where we're at in the areas that the CPA committee gets involved with.
And the relative people that commonly come to us, like the National Pond Committee, anybody has an opportunity to say, yes, we would like to let you know that this is what we want to do in the future, or whatever. Remember that part.
So I guess I say the stakes aren't super high for, getting everything in there perfectly or whatever. It's really kind of a document, it's a vision document. And, if some stakeholder in the community can't make that meeting or didn't have their input, it usually doesn't mean anything for them when it comes to coming to the committee and pitching a project and so forth. So, but it is part of the act itself to periodically have the plan and the review and so forth sort of function.
I think the state may want us to have this. So this is the reason we do it.
So I imagine it would make sense for the Parks and Rec Commission to have an agenda item at an upcoming meeting to let them know that this plan is going to be happening and to be thinking about kind of how the community has come to our meetings and what they've been asking for, concerns or hopes that they have, so that we can forward that to you. If someone wanted to reach out to you, or since you're doing the kind of open space piece of it, would it make sense from someone from Parks and Rec to meet with you to share that in a more formal way? Or
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, that was sort of my wondering if someone from Parks wanted to be involved in those kinds of early like pulling together all the pieces. But I think you're spot on, Kira, that each of the commissioners who represent specific committees that are of one of the 3/4 tenants of the CPA want to put it on. So John and Mary and Jay and Kira want to put it on the agendas of the various committees and commissions that we're moving into this process, so that these values and visions can make their way to me and eventually Kyle with PVPC.
Yeah, we should do that for conservation, just to say, okay, we have to talk about this piece, and it's not a 3.5 hour meeting. We can sneak it in somewhere.
Yeah, it may be helpful to have the last published version of
Sure,
this
sure.
for that agenda item.
That's a great idea.
So you could just sort of see what those sections did look like. I don't think that they were, perfect or whatever, but at least it gives you a starting point to just share, like, put people in the ballpark of what we've done.
Maybe
Yeah,
if
thank you. I was going to ask for the same thing.
Yeah, and that is currently on the Community Preservation Act Committee website. I can show you where that is.
Maybe you can email it out to the committee members though.
Sure. Yep, I can email it
And I
out.
don't know if there's,
Especially the members that are on these commissions.
Yes.
and also if you're aware of any communities that have like a plan that you feel like is a good updated version of like what would be like a model for us to go off of as well.
Sure.
One or two, just to see the different ways to do it.
Totally.
I appreciate Greg, you saying that there, it's like a vision, it's not super prescriptive. But it would be helpful to kind of know what other communities are doing so that
It's like a master plan.
With no teeth.
have a starting place.
Mission statement.
But that's what a master plan is too. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Anything else for tonight? Eva?
Nope, that's all I have for you guys.
What's our next meeting? Date?
Well, so our next meeting is August, and that was actually something I wanted to bring up with the committee. I don't foresee us having any agenda items for August, given that there aren't further discussion notes on the 2 applications, and applications for first quarter FY26 is closed. So we won't receive any new applications. Does the committee want to cancel the August meeting? Do you want to wait until, in case I get some other
Leave it open until.
business?
I think if you don't get anything within a week of the meeting, it should be canceled.
Okay.
We did that with Jamie a lot of times. That happened. So I have no problem. If something comes up, like if anybody has questions about the national art presentation and you need them here or something like that, then we can have it.
Great. Yep, that sounds good.
Super.
So,
Mind not having a meeting?
You're so bored when I'm home.
so the Thursday before the meeting, when you normally get the email with the updates for the meeting, you'll either get the
Call that,
updates or I'll let you know that the meeting is canceled.
Okay. All right, and you might just email us. Hadel says we can do this.
Great.
As we can
Awesome.
vote on
Even if
it.
she doesn't, just email us saying.
So we don't know.
You're on record.
Hi, Hadel.
Who's this guy?
Here, do you have something?
Yeah, what would be like the timeline for adding the CPA plan to a Parks agenda?
I think you can do it at any time, honestly. I think it'll be the next several months will be a lot of fact finding and just like pulling all the pieces together.
You have time.
Do you have it on your to-do list like earlier, later, like I want to be in
Yeah.
line with when you're ready to like think
Totally.
about it too.
Right.
So you don't have to answer that right now, but
Yeah,
just-
yeah. I mean, my vision is to have some preliminary conversations with PVPC, so we're sort of so Kyle and I are on the same page. But then, I think he will really be working on his sections and I'll be working on my section somewhat independently. I would say that I like roughly have it on my mental timeline for early fall.
Sounds like you're taking August off.
I'll be around. Just Concom has a lot going on. Concom has a lot going on.
Cram it in.
All right, so if there's nothing else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call. John?
Yes, I.
You sure? Yeah. Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.